So Maya successfully dropped off on her next boat, and I just left FAKARAVA to head back to Tahanea. I spent one really great week hanging out in FAKARAVA, reprovisioning, using the internet, and hanging out with some friends who work at one of the local dive shops. If you guys remember from my previous video, Tahanea has no towns, no internet connection, and not really much in the way of provisions unless you like coconuts and wild plants, so it was nice to have a little bit of civilization for a bit before I headed back to the beautiful remote Tahanea. Here's a little sample of what my off time looked like for the week I hung out in TETAMANU village.
Ready to go swimming?
There is a life I lead in this city, hurrying to cup my tea. I can take what I need to get by, it doesn't make it easy. The other piece of my heart moves slow, somewhere in the great unknown. When I return from the afterglow, will you carry me like I am whole again? Wait, hold on, put me together, take me back where I belong. I want it all, I had a feeling but the feeling is all gone. Wait, hold on, put me together, take me back where I belong. I want it all, I had a feeling but the feeling is all gone. If I could take you back to my youth and show you what I wish I knew, my will is strong with a place to lean. In the moment I hung desperately, the other ring on my wrist is gold, pairing with the light it holds. When I return from my skin and bones, I'm remembering the words you told me. Wait, hold on, put me together, take me back where I belong. I want it all, I had a feeling but the feeling is all gone. Wait, hold on, wait.
Welcome to Hippie sailing. I'm single-handing migrant 27 around the world. I started my trip in Maine with a very cold 10-month overhaul of my entire boat. Solo sailed through the Caribbean, the Panama Canal, and 41 days alone across the Pacific. I've been cruising in French Polynesia for the last year and a half, kiting, spearfishing, freediving, and of course fixing all the things that break on my boat. Aboard the Geck, I have no fridge, water maker, fancy electronics, and my rowboat is a dinghy with a sail rig. If you're interested in seeing my daily life, check out my Instagram @BoatLizard. Okay, enjoy the episode. As you can see, it's raining, and it's not really the best. Well, you know, if I had the choice, I would not leave in the rain when there's almost no wind, but unfortunately, the wind, it just gets worse if I don't leave. So tomorrow, it's going to be pretty strong northwesterlies, and the anchorage I'm in is totally exposed with about 30 miles of fetch, so that would be terrible. It leaves me no choice but to leave today. Unfortunately, the anchorage I'm heading to also is completely exposed to the west, so this is the plan. Today's Sunday at probably 3 o'clock. I cannot get in until Tuesday morning because then the wind switches more to the north and I'm protected. I would rather be at sea than in a shitty anchorage with a lot of fetch, and so what I'm going to do is try to make the 50 miles to Tahanea take a day and a half, which means zigzagging because obviously it's pretty hard to go that slow. And you know, I love being at sea, and I'm really not sad about just chilling for the next day and a half out here. This is the control station. I'm drinking tea, listening to a podcast, and enjoying the fact that I can escape the rain every now and then, and that it's not freezing cold, and that I'm at sea, even though it doesn't really feel like it. When it's raining, it's all about the little comforts as I'm popping in and out. So I have inside, I have tea in my chicken mug, and in the oven, I have cookies. The wind has started to fill in a tiny bit, and I'm now holding a steady-ish course. Well, in an ironic twist of fate, there is now no wind. How is it that the entire day... Also, I smell someone cooking barbecue, which is so cruel. I'm really close to shore, but fuck, it's not fair. All day, I was in this shit anchorage. I'm sorry, Sills. Getting bashed around to pieces, and then as soon as I leave, there's just no wind. I guess positives are that the worst thing when you're on anchor in a nasty wavy swell is that when the wind dies, your boat kind of doesn't stay beam or doesn't stay nose to the waves, and you go beam on, and then you get really bad rolls. So that would have been bad for about an hour. Other positive is that apparently starting tonight the wind is going to pick up from the north and worse than it has been.
Feeling is all gone. Feeling is all gone. Feeling is all gone.
The wind is starting to fill in a bit. Last night it was between 0 and 5 knots all night. There were times when the sails flogged for about half an hour or so, but for the most part I got really good sleep. It's probably blowing at least 30 outside right now. Super nasty squall. It's been going on for the past half hour. I have just my main up, and I'm not overpowered, but it still feels really intense. Zipping everything down and just sort of hunkering below. I've done everything I can. Everything is closed up. It's raining a little bit, but I think hopefully since the squall has been going on for this long, it's not going to get worse. It's kind of coming in waves. It's like one big cloud that has multiple squalls within it. So I was just outside for about 20 minutes, changing out my wind vane paddle, adjusting my course a little bit, and just kind of sitting with this to make sure that everything is cool on my boat. This is probably the third or fourth squall wave within the squall, and this is the strongest one. I'm just trying to adjust so my boat doesn't round up too much. And now I'm gonna try to relax. down below if I can. An update on the weather situation. We are 5 hours into this. I don't think I can call it a squall anymore. It's blowing about 30 plus now, I would say. Big waves. I have had to add a second towel to my leak situation because it's just really bad. This is all from the leak water. I just emptied the bilge again. And this is the situation outside. Oh my god, last night was one of the most intense nights of sailing that I've ever had in my life, and I'll never hide my shitty hair from you guys, but it's really bad right now, so I'm just wrapping myself in this blanket. These squalls that have been, I don't even know if I can call them squalls because they last hours. The wind just, bam, hits you. Normally squall wind kind of sneaks up a little bit, but you can feel it coming. But this was over 40 knots, well over 40, because I had no head sail up, but a full main, and I was both hands on the tiller, holding it as far up as I possibly could, barely keeping my boat. I was going downwind with the main all the way out, and I'd rounded up, and I was barely keeping it from going into the wind, and it was just, oh my god, so scary, and there was nothing I could do until it stopped. So that was probably, I don't know how long, because it felt like forever, and there was a lull, and I really quickly reefed, and then it came back again, and then, fuck, now the wind's from the north, and the seas are really sloppy, but I'm heading towards Tahanea. Okay, fine, this is my hair. And I should get in around 12. It's 7 something right now. So I'm just kind of comatose because I was up a lot of the night in the rain on the helm. Sailing, man. And I'm approaching Tahanea. The seas are way down, the wind is way down. It's like last night, never happened except that I'm emotionally scarred. No, I'm just kidding. That was really intense. I remember, because it was a full moon, so I had light. I could see when the wind is that strong, like 40s plus, the waves just become white because the wind is blowing the top layer of spray up on them. And I remember just being braced. My whole body is sore this morning, pulling the tiller as far upwind as I possibly could, and thinking, if it gets any windier than this, I'm gonna lose control of my boat. And I couldn't reef the main, even though I only had the main up. It was a full main, and it was too much sail. I didn't have a rail on the water, but I was definitely overpowered. But I couldn't leave the tiller, and I don't even think I could have reefed the main in that kind of weather. I think if I'd tried to take it down, it would have ripped. Alright, hook is down. I just swam my anchor and then swam over to go see Eve. You guys remember, she's the one who took Maya on her boat for a couple weeks. And Eve confirmed that she also had 40 knots of wind. She was anchored here in Tahanea, and one, it makes me feel good about saying it was 20 yesterday, because sometimes I wonder if I'm exaggerating in my head. And two, she said it was just terrifying in the lagoon because she was getting these, she said, like tubes of waves, like what surfers would surf on, just breaking all around her boat, wind clocking around. Her anchor chain got super wrapped up on coral. So even though it was also scary being out at sea, I knew, even as it was happening, that my boat was going to be okay and I was going to be okay and just chill out. But if I had been here, no, that's different. So anyway, I'm going to make some food and then pass the fuck out because I'm exhausted. Just to give you an idea of what was happening on my boat last night, you can see this corner is a mess and all this stuff that was in the bowl is out of the bowl. So it was all kind of like this, and I hit a wave so hard that these glasses somehow flew. I wasn't even heeled over that far over here, and a bunch of stuff from this bowl ended up on the floor, and the cushions are sliding off. Yeah, time for some relaxation.
Waking up dizzy in the morning. We fight a lot. Don't even know about what.
My friends Dave and Helen, whose boat my parents were on when they came to visit me, are going to tow me across the atoll today.
Because Holly has an issue with motoring long distance, we're going to have a go at towing her over. Holly, Dave?
Go ahead.
What we're thinking is that we will motor past you on your starboard side, and Helen will use our boat hook to pass you your end of the tow line. And then as we progress in front of you, Helen will feed out the line, which means you'll be able to get it cleated off while we're still feeding it out.
Go ahead.
Just checking how that feels for you.
Feels good. I don't think I've ever motored this smooth before.
Cool, well, if you can just keep an eye on things, I'll keep an eye, I'm going to be looking out for bombies as well.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'm doing a tiny bit of steering just to stay behind you guys, but mostly it's pretty smooth.
Nice, we are doing 3.3 knots, so I'll just pedaling.
Awesome. That's about the fastest I ever go when I'm motoring.
That's warp speed.
Yes. I'm gonna pull up the bosun's chair and just kind of sit in the rigging to help Dave and Helen keep an eye on things. So I'm getting a backpack ready. GoPro, water, maybe a speaker and some music. Alright, I'm all set up up here. This is great. I have my bosun's chair, backpack with water, iPad, navigation, and speaker for tunes. How did I get set up here all by myself, you may ask? Well, I attached my bosun's chair to the halyard and put a tagline on the bottom, tied the backpack to the bosun's chair, pulled everything up to spreader level, made the tagline off, and then climbed up to the spreaders myself, just free climbing up the mast, hopped into the bosun's chair, and voila, we have our own perfect stadium seating. You can actually see the bombies pretty well if you look in the distance over here. And I said I was going up here to help Dave and Helen with navigation, but truth be told, I kind of just spent most of the time messing around. They have their own system. I don't have a handheld VHF, and by the time I managed to yellowly get their attention, I think they would have hit anything they hadn't seen anyway. So basically, I had a ball, and this is now my new favorite way of traveling when there's no wind. So if anyone else out there wants to give me a tow, you know where to find me, somewhere in the TETAMANU.
Good time, Grace.
Yeah, Grace, go ahead.
Okay, we're just over half a mile off. I'm just going to gradually reduce speed.
Alright, sounds good. I'll stand by on the bow to release when we're slower.
Copy that.
Alright, are you guys ready? I'm off! Alright, the gack is unumbilicaled and I'm under my own power, so let's get this puppy going. Yeehaw! This is where I'm heading to. Alright, the hook is down. I'm just going to dive the anchor, make sure everything is cool. It's a little deeper than I prefer, and there are a lot of bommies here, so it's not ideal, but it's not horrible either. I think I anchored on the deep side, but there's not as much protection on the other side. There's already a boat here. I didn't want to fuck with them. Okay, I had a lot of really awesome feedback from you guys about my where am I while I'm editing this video segment, so I'm keeping it in to the end of the video. This is the segment where I show you guys where I am as I'm editing. Like most other YouTube sailors, my videos lag a couple months behind where I actually am in space and time, and I thought it would be fun to let you guys know where I am while I'm editing this video. So, I am in the boatyard, that is right. Last time I checked in with you guys, I was in Raiatea, now I'm in Raiatea Carnage, and my boat is very messy because I think if you're in the boatyard and your boat's not messy, are you really working? I have just been working like a madwoman trying to get everything done that I need to do. I have laundry everywhere because they are sanding fiberglass underneath my boat and I didn't want to hang my laundry up in it. Here is my editing situation, sort of in the middle of the mess, and that is where I am now. Somehow I found the time to edit one more video in the mix of all of this. Thank you for watching this week's video. I put out new videos every 2 weeks on Mondays, and for my patrons, you guys get a snack on the weeks that I don't put out a full-length YouTube. Right now on Patreon, I am reading aloud from my journal that I kept on my 41-day solo Pacific crossing. So if you guys want to hear some insights into my strange brain and things that I didn't film or didn't talk about in my YouTubes of the crossing, then go ahead and look at my Patreon. It's only $1 a month to sign up, and it's patreon.com/windhippie. And thank you so much to all of my patrons who support me and make all of this possible. For one-time donations, if you guys want, I have a PayPal. It's paypal.me/windhippie, and there are links to both of those in the description below. Also, my t-shirts are selling fast and furious, but if you guys still want a chance at some Wind Hippie merch, there is a link in the description below, and you can get t-shirts, sweatshirts, tote bags, mugs, probably other stuff that I'm forgetting. It's all super cool. Let's all wear our t-shirts on Mondays during my video upload times. Wind Hippie team! Okay, thank you Tish, my manager, for helping me schedule these videos on YouTube and just being an all-around awesome human. Thank you guys for all your lovely comments and feedback. You're great. Cool. Alright, see you guys next week.